everybody, and welcome back to the second video in my new series Anyone Can Draw. Today we're going to be looking at how you can draw a simple tabby cat just from a picture that I pulled off Google Images. So we're just going to jump straight into there with the video. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to draw the three circles that I've just drawn, two that are parallel to each other, and then the right parallel one you want to draw a certain smaller circle slightly above and to the right of it. Each circle needs to have two legs because it's going to represent the front and the back of the body. So just for the moment you just need to draw some stick legs in. Then just draw a curved line to indicate where the tail will be, and that's basically the guidelines that you need to work on. Then all you need to do is just simply start drawing these lines up using that reference image and figuring out where all of the actual features of the cat are going to lie. So at the moment I'm just working on the head, and then I brought it down into the front leg, and then I'm going to be taking it into the back front leg. Again, like I said in the elephant video, it's very important to keep that pencil really nice and sharp, because that's where the details are going to lie. When you're doing this type of drawing, it's very important to make sure that the proportions are correct. This is a very advanced method of drawing, so if you do have a go at this, I'm really interested to see your interpretations of this drawing, so please do comment down below whether or not you're going to give this drawing a go, and if you do, please share it on social media as well. I'll give you the links at the end. Like I said, this is quite a tricky method of drawing. If you can master this, then you're well onto your way of becoming a really good artist, because basically you're looking at the photo and you are drawing from that photo completely freehand. You're not using the grid technique where you're copying like how each part of the animal lies in terms of the grid. You are literally using your eyes and your eyes only to create this drawing, and it is very useful, and a lot of professional artists can't draw cats like that. They have to draw them through this method. They can't just look at a cat and just draw it. It is a very popular tool used among professional artists. When you come into the legs, I like to use what's called the chicken drumstick technique. It's not actually a technique, it's just something that I've made up, but it really does help. So picture the cat as having 4 chicken drumsticks as legs, and the paws and the actual legs themselves are the bone that you would hold, and then the top part that connects to the body is where the actual chicken meat is. It's a really weird analogy, but trust me, it works, because basically that's how cats and dogs' limbs look in real life. So to get the limbs flowing into the body, it really does help using the chicken drumstick technique. So if you are to kind of draw out a tiny bit of a chicken drumstick, for example the front leg, that initial circle that you drew, you can kind of see it looks like a chicken drumstick, and it really does help in the long run when you're getting the shadows in, and where you're getting the correct movement of each limb in. It really does help. So yeah, the chicken drumstick technique. Yeah, copyright by Paw Prince by Grace. No, I'm only joking. It does actually really work. So yeah, definitely want to use that technique. Don't be afraid as well at this stage, like I said in the elephant video, to be putting those shadows in, because again it will really help. This drawing doesn't particularly have shadows, it's more detail. For example, make sure that it's funny because the cat looks like Homer Simpson, and I'll zoom in on it now, but yeah you've got to make sure that you're putting those shadows in correctly. So as you'll see now, as I'm starting to do the shading, that Homer Simpson like beard is actually the cheeks of the cat and where the whiskers are eventually going to come out of. So don't be afraid if you're looking at your drawing and you're thinking, yeah, this looks really weird at the moment, because it's always better to put more detail in when you're actually drawing the cat, and then when you get round to shading it you can take that detail out. But because you've made that on the paper, you've made that impression on the paper, you can still see it when you're actually doing the shading, so it does help as a guideline. So do not worry if your cat looks like Homer Simpson or any other character, because it will look good once you finish the drawing, I promise you. So now we're getting into the actual shading. This is basically, I don't know the actual term of this technique. I might have made it up, it might actually be a genuine technique, but I call it the Scribble Technique. And it's basically, once you've got when you've got a really small piece of work like this one, so this was done on A4, but it's right in the centre of the A4 piece, so it's not a very big piece at all. It's very difficult to get the realistic look in the way that you would normally do a realistic drawing. So by getting all of the individual pieces of fur lined up, it's not going to work at this small scale, because it's going to look, you're basically going to try and put too many shadows in and it's going to look too dark. So what I tend to do on drawings like this is go for a more sketchy approach by using the sketch technique or the scribble technique. Again, I don't know whether this is legit or anything, but it's what I use and I found it works. So when you're doing the scribble technique, you want to be pressing fairly light or fairly heavy depending on your shadows. It's very important to layer, so you need to make sure that you're getting lots of different shadows and contrasting shadows in your drawing. For example, around the eye I've left it white, and then the actual pupil and the eye itself I've done really dark, and that will be the darkest tone in this drawing to make the eye really pop out. When you're scribbling, you need to make sure that you're going in all different directions and you're not just sticking to the same direction. So for example, if I was to draw a line from the eye to the neck, that would be a diagonal line sloping down from the left. If I was just to do the whole drawing at that angle, it wouldn't look right at all. So make sure that you're going in all different directions, 360 degrees, just to really get the there. And also it makes the paper absorb more of the graphite by going in all different directions, because if you draw it once only, not all of the paper is going to get covered in graphite or whatever material you're using. So it's very important to always go in lots of different directions. When you're doing whiskers as well, it's very important to take note of the direction, because whiskers, eyes and ears are the biggest factor into displaying how a cat is feeling in terms of its mood. So I'm going to use Katie as an example. When Katie's absolutely hyper, doing her around the house, her whiskers are very far forward and wide, her ears are huge and really far forward so that she can take in so much sound, and her eyes are jet black because she's taken in so much during the night, and obviously it's dark so her pupils are dilated, but she just looks wild. And you know, if you're a cat person, you know what I mean by the 3 o'clock run around. However, when she's scared, so for example, I would bang outside, or it's thundering, she doesn't like the thunder, corner, her ears will go completely flat because she's really scared. Again, her eyes will go really big, and that is because she's scared. And her whiskers will go really far back and they'll contract in, so they'll all be really tight and compact together. It's different for most cats, but you've got to really pay attention to the whiskers, because like I said, they are the defining factor as to what a cat's feeling. So for example, this cat, he's just walking down the street, he's having a great time, he's completely chilled, so his whiskers are just in his natural state. But as you can see, they're not perfectly straight, they are still curved, they've still got that wild instinct, So you could put loads and loads of detail into the face and make a beautifully drawn cat face. Then you come to the whiskers and you just chuck them, and then they don't look right. So then you've got to go back over that drawing, rub out those whiskers, and then you're going to lose all of the detail that you've just spent hours and hours putting into this face. So please, 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 if you're drawing whiskers, really pay attention to where they're actually going in the photo, because I promise you they make a huge difference than just chucking them in at last minute because you want the drawing finished. So please, please, that is probably my biggest bit of advice I can give on this video. When you're coming down to do paws as well, so I'm currently working on the front back paw. Again, shadows are really important. Don't be tempted to just draw what you think you see. So you can see the base pad, and on the photo there's actually 3 of the beans on the paw. I didn't draw 3 beans, I drew 2. It's because when I did draw 3, it looked really strange. So it looked like the paw was really far too twisted and it didn't quite look right. But a lot of people would probably just draw the 3 beans. If you don't think it looks right, don't draw it. If you think it looks right, draw it. Don't just draw it because it's there, and at the same time, don't draw it because you think it should be there. So, again, for example, on the... I don't really know where I'm going with that actually, hang on, because there's somebody now playing music in the street and it's slightly just starting to distract me. Yes, so sorry. So what I was going to say was, don't pretend that something's there if it's not, because you will basically ruin the perspective of your drawing. You've spent ages getting that paw correct, so don't be tempted to draw all 4 beans on because it's kind of at that angle and you can see it. At the same time, don't be tempted not to draw them, because again, it's going to look like the paw's really strangely twisted and it's just not going to look right. So yeah, really pay attention to those details, like I said in the elephant video as well. I have had a couple of people who have messaged me or they've shared on their Instagram stories pictures and progress of their elephants. They are all absolutely fantastic. I know a couple of people as well have been waiting on the shading because they don't want to shade their video. They don't want to shade their video. They don't want to shade their elephant yet until I've done a video on shading. So this video was really just going to be on the actual drawing of the cat, but because there's been quite a high demand for shading, I've touched on the Scribble Technique in this video. I will in future videos go on to the more realistic look, like how I do in my pet portraits, but again that's going to be a little bit further down the line because I'm going to still be teaching how you can draw an animal using this specific technique. So the next video we might use a different material, we might stick to graphite. You'll have to wait and see because I haven't quite decided what we're going to do next. If you do have any suggestions or burning desires to draw a specific animal, please leave a comment down below. Like I said in the previous video, I will read all the comments, and if we have a burning shared desire to draw a specific animal, I will 100% promise you I will do that animal. So yeah, if there's something that you're desperate to see, please leave that comment and give me a little reason why. Or if you've got an animal that you'd really like to draw and you have it as a pet, please tag me in it on social media. I love animals, otherwise I wouldn't be in this business, and I love hearing all the stories about people's animals and seeing pictures of them. It's fascinating. I love animals. Currently what I'm doing now is just going around the back of the leg, and I'm just really getting a darker shadow in that leg, but you've got to make sure, like I said earlier, that you're not using the shadow, the same depth of the shadow that I've created in the eye. The eye is the darkest part of this drawing, and that it needs to stay like that. It needs to pop. So make sure that you're constantly paying attention to how heavy you are pressing down in the pencil. There's lots of different videos out there explaining not to use your pencil in the way that I am currently using it. What I mean by that is I always hold my pencils right at the very tip, at the bottom. A lot of videos out there tell you not to do that because you're going to mess up the shadows. It's completely up to you. There is no right and wrong way of holding a pencil. A lot of videos out there say to hold the pencil halfway up and scribble on the side. A lot of videos say to do it right at the top and scribble at the side. And then some of them, like mine, hold it right at the bottom and just scribble it like on a bit of an angle. Whatever works for you. There is no right or wrong way. You always get, if you practice and you use the techniques that I'm telling you about, you will create really good art, no matter how you hold your pencil. Honestly, it's up to preference. It's the same thing as creating really, really good art if you're left-handed or you're right-handed, basically. There's no distinction. Just hold your pencil however you're comfortable, and don't be influenced by people saying you have to hold the pencil halfway up, because you don't have to. And I've seen many people on YouTube who either have that opinion or, like me, they go against it and they say just hold it however you want. At the end of the day, art is fun, and you want to be comfortable doing your art and doing your drawing. And Katie's come in now. Hello. Hello, Katie. You sniffing the mic? Yeah. You silly Billy. So that's quite important. Don't let other people influence you on things like that. So yeah. And Katie's now leaving the room. One thing I will touch on as well is please do not blend using your finger. Pencils hate it. Pencils hate skin contact. Graphite is notorious for ruining your pictures if you blend it with your finger. Please do not do that, because you will be so disappointed at the amount of work that you've put in, and it just looks awful at the end of it. Please, please, please do not blend with your finger. There are tools out there. There's one called, it's got quite a few different names. It can be called a Tortillon, it can be called a blending stick, and it's basically just really, really compressed paper. That's basically, it looks like a pencil, so it's got a sharp point to it, and you just blend with that instead. They're really, really cheap to pick up. You can in fact make them yourself. I will do a video on how to make one. They're really easy. Basically all you need to do is just roll up a piece of paper really, really, really tight, and then just crease the end down to a point, and you can blend it. If you don't like scratchy sort of noises like that material you get on pencil cases that I know annoys a lot of people, Tortillons might not be for you, or you might want to pop some headphones in, because it doesn't really make the nicest of noises when you are using it, but that's the price you're gonna have to pay for a really good, really well blended drawing. The reason why I've put a piece of paper over the front of this drawing as well is, again, because of the smudging aspect. So because I'm right-handed and I always start at the head, which again is another big thing that you need to do, like I said in the elephant video, always start with the head because that has the most character. However, because if you're like me and you're right-handed, you're going to do that head, you're going to do the upper body, then you're going to move into the back of the body, and you're just going to put your hand all over it and smudge it, and then you're just going to have to chuck your work in the bin because it's not going to look very good anymore. So if you are going to have to lay your hand over your work, no matter what material you're using, whether it's watercolour paints, coloured pencils, crayons, felt tips, whatever you want to use, always put just a standard piece of paper, just like cartridge paper that you put in the printer, just a plain piece of paper with nothing on it, just lay it over the top, and then you can happily rest your hand on there. Anything that does transfer onto the white paper will transfer, but it won't be an awful lot. It'll just be like tiny little smudges, and it won't ruin your drawing. Whereas if you are to put, everyone's done it, you've done a drawing in school and you've looked up and the side of your hand and the side of your palm is jet black with graphite, and then whatever you touch until you wash your hands always gets a bit of graphite on it. So that's my big recommendation, always do that. And again, just keep making sure that while you're doing this drawing and you're getting all the stripes in particular, because that's where you're going to start pressing more, make sure that you're constantly keeping that pencil nice and sharp, because that's going to be giving quite a lot of the details in. If you wanted to do highlights as well without the Tortillon that I was just describing, you can use your rubber. So I'm not going too big with the highlights here because I'm just being very careful with the shadows that I'm forming. But if you do want to use a rubber, go ahead. Just because I'm giving you my descriptions here on how I personally do shading, if you have your own way or you've seen other people doing different techniques and you think that would work better for you, you go ahead and you do that. I'm just giving you some hints and tips here on how you can draw. If you do want to do rubbing out, absolutely go for it, because I do it as well when I do pet portraits, and I'm doing it in this one as well. The rubber that I use, I just picked mine up from Tesco. I think it was about £2.50, and it's a map head one, and it's also got a pencil sharpener combined in it. In all of my years of doing art, I have never found a pencil sharpener and a rubber that works as good as this one does, and it's 2 for 1, and it cost me £2.50, and it's the best thing I've ever bought doing art. And I know that's a really sad thing to say, because people will be like, well, it's just a rubber, Grace, why are you so happy about it? It really makes a difference. So I will have that linked below. Like I said, I got it in Tesco, but you can get it off Amazon or any supermarket really will do it. Many craft stores, it is really good. The one problem that is quite common with rubbers when you're doing graphite drawings is they can be quite oily, like I was saying earlier about the oils in your skin. They can kind of have the same effect. So if you go for a really cheap rubber, you're going to end up with a really cheap look on your drawing. And always make sure that your rubbers don't have a shine to them. If they have a shine on them, kind of like when you're in school and you get those little school sets, and you always get that rubber and it's got a little bit of like a unicorn sticker on it or something like that, and it's got that shine to it. Make sure that your art rubbers do not have shines on like that, because they've got a form of grease on them that will basically counteract the graphite, and it'll make it look really grim and really messy and dirty, and it just won't look right. So always go for really dry rubbers. You can as well, if you have access to them, you can use putty rubbers, which are kind of like blue tack but in a rubber version. So you can manipulate it to any shape you want, and then you can just rub it over your work. I actually do sometimes use blue tack because I don't own a very good putty rubber, but I do sometimes use blue tack if I'm doing a watercolour picture, just to take the top layer of the graphite off, so that when you're working with light watercolours, you're not going to be getting that graphite smudged in. It really does help, and I really would recommend getting a really good rubber if you are wanting to take art seriously. Even if you just want to do it for fun, for the sake of spending £2 on this rubber, it really does help. And you also get a rubber replacement with it as well. I promise you Maphead is not sponsoring me for this video. I'm just saying it's a really, really good tool to use. And obviously the pencil sharpener in it as well is really, really good. But yeah, so that's about it really for this video. I'm going to let the rest of it play on now and just let you enjoy the video itself. If you do want to have a go, like I said earlier, I'd absolutely love to see your progress on this drawing. Even if you just want to do the outline of the drawing, if you're not really that confident in shading yet, we're going to do so much more on shading and different techniques and things like that on this channel. If you're new around here, please give us a subscribe, it really would mean a lot. We do this channel which is Anyone Can Draw, and we also do paw prints as well, which is my personal business. and I also do vlogs. All this is all on the same channel, so if you like watching vlogs, you like watching art videos, you like watching people mess around and taking the mickey out of each other, then please hit that subscribe button. If you've if you've enjoyed watching this video, please give me a like, leave a comment down below, and also don't forget to follow me on social media. Name's exactly the same, at Paw Prints by Grace, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And while you're on there, again, please share all of your progress pictures of this drawing, or if you haven't seen the elephant drawing, go check it out. I'll have that linked in the description as well. But yeah, give this one a go. It's really, really good. It probably took me about 3 hours to do this drawing, so not really that long in compared to other drawings. But yeah, so I'm going to stop talking now because I can talk for England. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Keep safe everybody, bye bye.